Welcome to yet another Health Enthusiasm monologue. This time I'll be talking about better beats perfect. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the Healthhusiasm monologue by Christophe Joquet, a spoken column about making customers healthy and happy.
When I started these monologues a couple of months ago, it took me more than half a day to actually produce and ship it. It was only when seeing a social media post by Gary Vaynerchuk that I realized that I took way too much time to create these. Because Gary Vee stated very obviously that it's better to be fast than to be perfect. And so the reason why it took me so long was indeed because I so very much wanted it to be perfect. So I carefully took precious time to make it as good as possible. And was it perfect? Hell no. I made mistakes against English grammar. My facial expressions, they looked weird and funny, and my voice, it sounded like I was reading the trailer of a scary movie. And my friends were even making fun of me. And it did took me that much time to do. So I almost stopped doing it if it wasn't for this opinion. It's better to be fast than to be perfect. Because he was right, it does not need to be perfect. In fact, it is nearly impossible, or it simply might take too much time to make it perfect. And the consequence of that, by actually trying to be perfect, you might end up not doing it at all. Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, nicely described this as done is better than perfect. It's better to have something done than trying to do it perfectly. Startups apply that same mentality as well. They don't wait until something is perfect. They ship and tweak, making sure you get something onto the market, learn from it, and tweak it afterwards. It's about being lean and agile. It is what makes companies successful today. Small and big companies, for that matter. It has become an imperative for any type of business success. Or is it? Because the question is often asked out loud. Does this really apply to every industry? I work in health, for example, and there is often said that when it comes to our health, it needs to be perfect. You can't just try things out, right? And yes, indeed, it can be true for medications or medical technology. Any type or drug or device we put into our bodies needs to be carefully tested. We need to make sure it works as good as possible. And that is why we put up double-blinded, randomized, peer-reviewed clinical studies to achieve near perfection before launching something. When it comes to medical decisions, the risks are simply too high not to achieve near perfection. But that's true for medical decisions, or at least for the vast majority of medical decisions. In the health enthusiasm model, I explain how people are more than ever occupied with their health today. And how when it comes to our health, we're not only taking medical decisions, we'll also take decisions that prevents our health from becoming worse. We will take well-being decisions that makes us feel good. Lifestyle decisions as well. We simply take several types of decisions related to our health. 4 different types to be exactly. But they don't all need to be perfect. I recently ran into this discussion with a professor who claimed that the step counters in Fitbit or Apple Watches are bogus. He considered them useless because they're not perfect. And I'm sure that scientifically speaking, he might be right, but you can't say that step counters are useless. How many people, even if only for a short while, have moved more because of these step counters? How many people buy these so-called useless devices because it makes them move and walk way more than if were no such thing on the market? Saying that step counters are bogus is dead wrong. It's like saying that playing tennis has not been proven enough to be considered healthy. Anybody knows that it is healthy to play sports. And sure, it might not be the perfect exercise, but better beats perfect. Personal trainers, they are applying this with their clients as well. I've learned that when I was talking recently to Derek Price, the VP of Institute of Motion. And if you're not familiar with them, it is a health and human performance company from California. They train coaches, companies, governments, and their goal is to have people live more healthily by moving better and more. They are renowned around the world, and they are even running governmental health programs in Singapore. And so Derek explained to me something very valuable. He said that even if he has the perfect program in mind for his clients, it does not necessarily need to be executed to perfection. Even if the client can only do half of the program, it's already better than nothing. Because it is better to do something than trying to do it perfectly and failing because of that. Because then you end up doing nothing at all. Better beats perfect. When it comes to our health and well-being, we are cautious to move forward, to put something on the market, to make a claim. And it's not a bad thing to be on the safe side. Sometimes it really needs to be perfect. But let's remain reasonable. Let's balance things out. And quite frankly, let's reflect on when it really needs to be perfect. And when something is already better than not having anything at all. I particularly speak to all the naysayers within the healthcare environment here, those that refuse any idea that isn't perfect. Often I get criticized by them when I'm on stage. They say that my ideas and innovations presented during keynotes or on my Twitter and Instagram accounts aren't scientifically proven yet, that they aren't worth anything yet. And it's true. These ideas and innovations often aren't perfect yet. Maybe they will never be perfect. Maybe they are just used to indicate trends, cultural shifts, or changes in human expectations and aspirations. But maybe they can mean or do mean something to some people already today. Maybe they are better than not having anything at all. Because sometimes better beats perfect. And that counts for this monologue as well. Was it perfect? No, most certainly not. But I do hope that for some, it was inspiring enough to be better than nothing at all.